Thank you, Dan. Welcome, everyone. It's 6 minutes after the hour. It's Monday, November 25th, 2019, 25 degrees outside. Shaman Taubman, half man and half amazing, is on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor, and this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. We're having an abbreviated week this week. We'll be off Thursday and Friday for the holidays to enjoy those with friends and family, and very thankful for the opportunity we have here. We've coming up on a year pretty quickly. Wednesday. Wednesday's the 27th. Yeah, that's the day. Yeah, we'll have a year in the can.
Wow.
Yeah, been a fun year, huh, Shane?
Well, it's been fantastic.
Yeah, we've covered a
What
lot.
a blessing.
Covered a lot of ground this year.
And made a lot of calls.
Yeah, we have. Well, the weather, snow, and more snow, but not a lot. So it's just enough to get you in the shopping mood, I guess. Today we got about a 40% chance of snow. It'll mainly start after 11 a.m. It's partly sunny with a high near 31. Total daytime snow accumulation of less than half an inch is predicted. Tonight, a 30% chance of snow, mainly before 8 o'clock, and mostly cloudy with a low around 16. So it's going to be a little nippy tonight. New snow accumulation of less than half an inch again is possible. Tuesday, 20% chance of snow again, partly sunny with a high near 29. And then on Tuesday night, mostly cloudy with a high, or a low rather, around 13. And that'll be nice and cool. Then on Wednesday, we got another 20% chance of snow after the noon hour, and it'll be cloudy with a high near 27. And then on Wednesday night, we got a 50% chance of snow, cloudy with a low around 15. New snow accumulation of less than half an inch is possible. And then on Thanksgiving Day, we've got a 50% chance of snow. It'll be cloudy with a high near 24. New snow accumulation of around an inch is possible. Thanksgiving evening, a chance of snow again, cloudy with a low around 7, getting into the single digits on Thursday. And then on Friday, a chance of snow, cloudy with a high near 19 for Black Friday shopping. You're going to go out there in 19-degree weather to do your shopping. And Friday night, a chance of snow again, mostly cloudy with a low around 1 degree. So it's going to be a little cool over the weekend, over your holiday weekend. Then on Saturday, we got a slight chance of snow yet again. The high will only be near 19. And then on Saturday night, partly cloudy with a low around 3 degrees. And then on Sunday, mostly sunny with a high near 27. So snow and cold. Not a lot of snow. Not enough to cave in any buildings, apparently, Shane. But we're going to get some snow. And you've had snow up there, haven't you?
Oh, in the mountains, yeah, we're getting our snowpack building, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we are here too, and pretty exciting to finally get into the holidays, finally getting into Thanksgiving here, and then getting the Christmas spirit into December and whatever. Boy, pretty cool.
It is indeed.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful time of year.
Yeah.
Great music. They started with Christmas caroling on radio here.
Oh, yeah? Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. We should ask the listeners when they want to start Christmas music.
Well, and all the stores are full of.
Yeah, I know. They're
Christmas.
full of everything Christmas right now. So, yeah, that is the way it goes. Temperatures around the area right now. Livingston is 26 degrees. Bozeman is 25. Livingston is 26 degrees. Let's see. Manhattan is 21. Three Forks 20. Gallup Gateway is 25. Ennis is 21. Big Sky 14. And at the airport of Belgrade is 24 degrees over there. We're right at 25 degrees here in our downtown studios at 10 minutes after the hour. Our poll question from Friday, with what you know now, is impeachment more or less likely? 83% of you said less likely. Where's the evidence of a crime? 7% said more likely he's guilty of sin, and 2% were undecided. Another 7% had various answers. The fix is in. Impeachment will happen. Republicans will cover his crimes. Not guilty, but I don't trust the Dems. What's the charge, and when does the president get his witnesses and face his accuser? It's a political trial. Dems have the votes to impeach. No court would convict, and no won't have the votes in the House. So do you think they'll have the votes in the House, Shane?
Well, the 42 junior or freshman congressmen have a problem. If they don't vote for impeachment, they'll be primary. Mm-hmm. And if they do vote for impeachment, they'll all lose. So either way.
You think so, huh?
Yeah. Well, how can you impeach your president for something Obama didn't do and they didn't impeach him for? Mm-hmm. And how do you impeach him for something that he didn't do and Vice President Biden didn't get impeached or have to resign for? So it's so bizarre.
Yeah.
You look at the BBC and Canadian news, and it just makes no sense to people about how the Democrats are accusing him of what they did. It's pretty sad.
Yeah.
The foreign press just doesn't. That's the way they see it.
Doesn't understand it. Well,
no, they understand it. They just, how can you be impeaching a president who didn't do those two things when Obama failed in doing what they're accusing Trump of, and Biden did what they're accusing Trump of. It's pretty bizarre.
Yeah. Well, we have a hard time understanding Canadian politics and English politics too. So, you still don't have a government, so. Mm-hmm. Well, our poll question today is: do you have Facebook? And 40% of you said yes, it's great for keeping in touch with friends. And 20% said I have better things to do with my time.
Yeah.
and some other answers. No, I am computer illiterate. Well, that was an answer, but they put it down as other. So, yes, it's very entertaining, and I can keep track of my grandchildren. So, yeah, so there you are. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's early voting. We'll keep you apprised of it as we go along this morning. So, well, let's see, Shane. Boy, we've got a lot to talk about today. Let's see. In this day in history, 1783, the British evacuated New York, their last military position in the United States during the Revolutionary War. They got out of New York.
Well, yeah, this followed the end of the war after the victory in Yorktown. Mm-hmm. And it was important even for General Washington because, the Battle of Long Island on August 27th, 1776 was the first major battle after the Declaration of Independence. And it was a devastating loss to the Continental Army. The 2,000 Americans went up against 10,000 Americans went up against 20,000 British. They lost 2,000 and captured 1,000 were captured. So, long story short, it was destined to be a great day and cheer, and you'd think there would be a celebration day. So, I guess it's too close to Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
The other side of it is remember that amendment to your Constitution about not having to board soldiers. That came from all of the occupation that the
Third
British
Amendment, isn't it? Isn't that the third?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
the British, occupied all the cities on the East Coast and forced people to house, soldiers. Yeah, so here you go.
Yeah. All right. On this date, 1914, Baseball Hall of Famer Joe DiMaggio was born in Martinez, California. What a guy! Married Marilyn Monroe and.
Well, that and just, being involved with the Yankees and, my goodness, what a life he had. And a great baseball player. I mean, there wasn't anything small about him. He did something in every game.
Yep. Well, still holds a record for most consecutive hits or games with a hit, 157. I mean, when you figure it's 162 games, that's not going to be broken, I don't think, with today's pitching.
I don't think so. No,
It's going to take one heck of a hitter to
yeah.
to do that, and you got to do it in a season. So that means you got to play every day, and or pretty much every day, and that's going to be a tough one to beat. That may be an all-time record that's never broken. So I don't know. Let's take let's take care of our farmers and ranchers here before we get too far into the weeds, huh, Shane? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to take care of these folks because, hey, they're bringing you your turkey, you know? They're bringing you turkey, they're bringing you stuffing, they're bringing you cranberry sauce, all that stuff. So we got to take care of those folks, and we'll do that right now. Here's your news in agriculture. 21 minutes after the hour. It's Monday, November 25th, 2019, 25 degrees outside. Shane and Tom, half man, half amazing on the line. Tom Eagle, your morning mayor. This is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And guess what, Shane? 1947, movie studio executives agreed to blacklist the Hollywood 10 who were jailed a day earlier for contempt of Congress for failing to cooperate with the House Un-American Activities Committee. And if we ever needed a House Un-American Activities Committee, it's now.
Yeah, the committee was first established in 1938. And on this day, November 25th, 1947, 10 writers and directors were cited, as you said, for contempt of Congress for refusing to testify before it. And I think this gives you reading about this gives you a clear understanding of why Hollywood has such a contempt for its government. Because a lot of these people, that were hit,
singled
Humphrey Bogart,
out.
James Cagney, Katharine Hepburn, Melvin Douglas, Frederick March, Kirk Douglas. I mean, all of these people were Democrats, or a lot of them. And, so Hollywood has a real angst, about your government, and they're sort of trying. This whole left thing out of Hollywood is their way of getting back at the U.S. government, like Black Lives Matter and all these other minority groups.
All right. Well, in 1973, Greek President George Papadopoulos was ousted in a bloodless military coup.
Yeah, that's after he had taken over the country by election, and then led a coup, and was the head of it for 7 years. And a lot of people, this was 67 to 74, but it was called the regime of the colonels. Where have we heard colonels before taking over?
Yeah.
But this was the real bent on the country of Greece and their fight for Crete against Turkey, and so it's one of these sad examples of a failed democracy and failed state, which we're seeing happening now in Chile, in Spain, in Mexico, of course Venezuela, and it just turned into an economic mess, which has continued ever since.
Yeah. Well, in 1986, the Iran-Contra affair erupted as President Ronald Reagan and Attorney General Edwin Meese revealed that profits from secret arms sales to Iran had been diverted to Nicaraguan rebels.
That's right. And in the hearings, Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North, he wasn't John Dean. He was just the opposite. He stood before the council or the committee and said, I was responsible. I didn't tell the president. He didn't ask me to. I just saw it as a way to help our Central American, national security to be benefit. And Reagan got on TV and apologized to the Americans, and on you went.
Yep, that was it. Well, in 1987, Chicago Mayor Harold Washington died after suffering a heart attack in his City Hall office. Wow.
Remarkably so. He's the 51st mayor of Chicago, first black mayor of Chicago, and came out of the U.S. House of Representatives to become mayor. And he'd been in the House the House of Representatives from 1981 to 1983 for one term, and representing the first district in Illinois. He'd previously been in the Illinois State Senate. Wow.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, he was. pretty interesting in the context of wanting to reorganize the city of Chicago after, that great family had run it for so many years.
Yeah.
And, said he was going to deal with the corruption. The amazing thing is over the weekend, our famous actor from Chicago is now suing the city for breach of his civil rights.
Yeah.
So and that I think it's Fox, right? The district attorney. She's running again. I just hope it brings attention to the $700 million that she's settled with people for claiming, their civil rights have been hurt, which has caused the police not to arrest anyone because the minute they do, they file a civil rights claim, as we've talked about, and she just settles it, never takes it to court.
Yeah.
I hope this comes to the forefront that has cost the city of Chicago over $700 million in her tenure to just settle cases and never take them to court, like Smollett or whatever.
Smollett. Yeah.
Smollett, yeah. She's made a lot of African American people wealthy in Chicago. Well, there you go. No wonder the Democrats stay in control.
Yeah, there's something Smollett's bad in Chicago.
Yes, Chicago. And by the way, you can read about all this. Go to Google and just Google the Chicago Tribune and payouts for civil rights claims, settlements, and it's all written up in the Chicago Times.
Yeah.
Or
Tribune, yeah.
Tribune, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1999, 6-year-old Cuban refugee Elian Gonzalez was rescued by a pair of sport fishermen off the coast of Florida and eventually went back to Cuba at gunpoint.
Well, the remarkable thing about this is this was the opening gambit for, social network. It hadn't really happened yet. I mean, it was happening, Facebook and so forth, but when CNN got a camera in the closet, and everybody saw it, you sort of had an idea of how things were going to change in the next several years. And of course it did. The news cycle turned into literally a 24-hour one, and then instead of a 1-week cycle, and it was a horrific choice that Clinton had to make. A lot of people say it was the right choice. A lot of people says it wasn't, but he did return. And of course, was raised by family and has no interest, he says, about coming back. But, this was done under the order of the great Attorney General Janet Reno, and we know how she handled several other things that didn't go well.
Yep. All right. That's going to wrap it up for this portion of This Day in History. When we come back, we've got to talk about Homeland Security. We got to talk about Medicare legislation. We got to talk about Mohammed Hamdi al-Hadal and what he did, and the Israel and the Palestinians and Michael Vick. A lot going on this day in history. Yeah. So we'll be talking about all that when we come back. Shane and I will not be here Thursday or Friday. We'll be celebrating the holidays with our friends and family, and we appreciate that we get that time off, and we hope that you enjoy your Thanksgiving. Best of shows, probably not ours, but somebody's will be on. But you can listen to us at KMMSAM.com. Just click on Tom and Shane Podcast, and you can listen to 200-plus episodes of the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. We'll be right back right after this. 25 minutes before the top of the hour, and it's Monday, November 25th, 2019, 27 degrees outside. And Shane Matobin, half man, half amazing on the line. Tommy Gullef, your morning mayor in the house. And this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And on this date in history, 2002, President George W. Bush signed legislation creating the Department of Homeland Security, which is probably the closest thing to a House Un-American Activities Committee.
That's right. Yeah, it's a pretty gigantic operation. I mean, the combination, 240,000 employees, $52 billion a year budget, and it combines a lot of the intelligence agencies in your country under one roof. A lot that were independent, like the Secret Service was part of the Treasury. Now it's part of Homeland, and Customs, Immigration, Protective Services. Oh, and of course, your Transportation Security Administration, the TSA. That's a biggie. Anyway, the long point is that after 9/11 and the failure of the FBI to recognize it, which was revealed later, and several other corrections or failures of the intelligence, they thought it was best to combine it. I don't really believe that was the case. I think it was a setup, for the 2006, PAC, War Powers Act, Privacy Act, and allowing the president to have more power to protect the country, which hasn't worked out well, as we've seen what's happened. And, the ability for a president to weaponize all of this under his authority because of a cabinet position. And the great thing about your country and your republic is diversity. You have men's clubs all over the country, women's clubs all over the country, business, it's so diversified that the more you centralize government, the more likely it is to be corrupt. And that's the sad reality. Because even as diverse it is politically with state and county and city governments, there's still a lot of corruption.
Amen to that. From our text line, 478-8298, Janet Reno, America's most celebrated she, until Michelle Obama came along.
Ooh.
And on vacation, listening from Panama City, Florida.
Wow, he's just moving in that car.
Guys getting around. Yeah.
That, I have to tell you, the drive along the Caribbean coast, Texas and Alabama and Louisiana to Florida, it's an amazing drive. I mean,
yes, it is. Yeah. Well, I don't know since the hurricanes, but it used to be there was all along the coastline was these old homes, these old southern, big houses and whatever, all along the coast. So it was pretty impressive. So.
Yeah, in 77, I left Montana, drove down the West Coast, stopped all along the way and visited my grandmother in San Francisco. Then I drove along the southern coast all the way along the Mediterranean to Florida. Then I drove all around the tip of Florida and up the East Coast to Marshfield, Massachusetts. And it was quite an experience.
I bet.
It's incredible. Country's incredible.
Yeah. Well, in 2003, the Senate gave final congressional approval to Medicare legislation, combining a new prescription drug benefit with measures to control costs before the baby boom generation reaches retirement age. And that didn't work out quite as well as they had hoped it would.
Yeah, and again, this is something we've covered, with the Brady Act about, they want to, issue new laws about who can and can't get guns, and we've gone through the list, and it's everything they've been talking about is already law.
Right. Yeah.
And this is another example. They keep talking about pharmaceuticals and reducing the cost, and if you read through this Medicaid Part D and B, D and B, there's several part A, B, C, D, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
But B and D, it's pretty specific under the law about setting out the prices and the retail prices that can be charged to people under Medicare. Once again, it's just the law's already there. It just needs to be enforced. But they make a political hay out of it, like it doesn't exist. It's very interesting to realize. Like they say, there's laws that people break every day. They don't even know are on the books. Right?
Well, that's true. Well, Medicare costs are pretty well controlled if you do have Part D, and if you're approaching. In my case, I didn't need a lot of medication, so I didn't sign up for Part D when it was available. And as a result, signing up later, you pay a penalty. It's not a big penalty, but it's a penalty.
Yeah. But if you watch American television, which I'm assuming most people listen, you're seeing all these government ads about Medicare and Medicaid, and what you can get. I mean, what's the great New York Jets quarterback is the spokesman. And, he's up there talking on TV right now about
Joe Namath. Yeah.
Joe Namath, you get free lunch and a free ride and this and that. And they help me. And it's so funny because he says, all I had to do is give him my information. And, of course, we're all told, don't give anyone your information. Right.
Yeah, don't call.
It's sort of a quirky ad.
Yeah. Well, I don't think too many of that is available in Montana. I don't think free rides to medical are available. I think I looked into that.
Not free meals? They don't deliver you meals?
Well, they deliver meals, but not under Medicare. We've got Meals on Wheels for seniors that are supported.
Well,
by
he claims under, you can call and get meals for free.
Well, if your state covers that.
Yeah, that's what he said. You got to check and see.
I don't think Montana does. We don't have enough people to, we don't have enough population to fund that.
Oh,
that's our issue, I think. But anyway,
there you go. See,
I don't know. If anybody's getting that, please call us and let us know.
Please, let us know
if you qualified for it, because I think a lot of people would like. Yeah, they claim medical and dental and all this stuff is available, and I don't think it is. So.
No,
not unless somebody's going to underwrite it for you at a cost.
So,
all right. We'll be right back in 90 seconds. You got to hear from Ben at Buffalo Restoration, Babel, and Capital One. We'll be back in 90 short seconds right after this. 16 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Monday, November 25th, 2019, 26 degrees outside. Tom Eagle, your morning mayor in the house. Shane Dobbin, half man, half amazing in Vancouver, British Columbia. And this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And from our website, or from our app, I'll get it in a minute, from our text line, 478-8298. Meals on Wheels, I guess you got to sign up for $12 a year as a member at the senior center. So I guess you can get meals that way. So, yeah. So
that's pretty reasonable, $12 a year.
Yeah, check that out and see if...
I pay $45 a year to cover me for TransLink, to ride the subway and buses. So.
Oh, yeah? All right.
Yeah, good deal.
Yeah. So you have a big subway system there in Vancouver, don't you?
We have the largest above-ground free system in the world.
Wow.
The SkyTrain, yeah. It's incredibly extensive. Beautiful. What a ride. Oh.
Yeah. Is it full of graffiti and everything everywhere?
No graffiti.
Really?
None.
Okay.
Zero.
Wow. Okay. Well, in 2003, Yemen arrested Mohammed Hamdi al-Aldal, a top al-Qaeda member, suspected of masterminding the 2000 bombing of the U.S. coal and the 2002 bombing of a French oil tanker off Yemen's coast.
Exactly. Yep. Incredibly stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, not a genius.
No.
In 2006, on this date, Israel and the Palestinians agreed to a ceasefire to end a 5-month Israeli military offensive in the Gaza Strip and the firing of rockets by Palestinian militants into the Jewish state.
That's right. And this has been this long-held issue with regards to the Palestinians. And, after the Six-Day War, Israel granted the Gaza Strip on the condition that the Egyptians would basically, secure it, which they do because Egypt's on the north side, and then the other two sides, the east side and the southern side, and then the Mediterranean Sea, of course. But the Egyptians surround it. But regrettably, it hasn't worked out that well, and so they've had these constant battles back and forth. And just a couple of weeks ago, they killed the head of the Palestinian terrorist group there, and so it's been a back and forth issue. Yeah, very sad because it's all the people in Gaza Strip work in Israel, so they have to cross the border to go in. There's 1.85 million people on 141 square miles. That's just really small.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a lot more people in LA, in a similar area, but it's still not, sad. Yeah. It's sad.
From our text line, 478-8298, how does Shane like that socialist subway in Canada?
Well, it's an interesting thing. When it was started in 86 because of Expo, they built it extensively over time. And up until a year and a half ago, TransLink, which is a BC Queen corporation that runs it for all the Lower Mainland, they didn't charge people to run the SkyTrain. Then they put up gates and you have to buy. They doubled their income. They increased their profits by 40%. So it's not socialist. Everyone has to pay to ride it.
So it's a capitalist situation, yeah.
It is, totally, 100%.
Okay. Yeah. Every public transportation that I'm aware of in the United States is subsidized by the government. So every public transportation we have is socialist.
Well, when TransLink here started out, they were subsidized, but the success of it's been so significant. What the Greater Vancouver Area Council has done has allowed them to increase, the price of it. Right now, you can ride around on it on the city for 3 hours for $2.75. Not bad.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Yeah,
it costs you $5.50 to go to work and home a day. $25 better than a car.
Well, I would think so.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
I don't think it costs. I'm not sure about our Streamline bus line. I don't think it costs anything to ride the Streamline. You just kind of show up and.
But they're on strike, the bus drivers.
And well, not in Bozeman.
No, in Vancouver.
Yeah, in Vancouver. Oh, the bus drivers are. So you got to ride the subway then.
No, because this coming week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it's all going to be shut down. So it's going to be chaos here for it's going to be absolute chaos. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. All right, you're going to have to do the next one because I froze up. Go for it.
I think that's it.
That's not all this day in history.
Isn't it? No, I don't think so. What do I have here? No, I think that's it. I've got my. Yeah, that was the last one on the list. I'll look again, but I'm pretty sure. Oh, it might be a sports thing. I don't usually look up. Oh yeah, Vincent Fox was. Oh, sorry, no, that was tomorrow. That's Monday. Yeah, that's it. Let's head on.
What about Michael Vick?
Michael Vick. Oh yeah, you want to talk about Michael Vick? I couldn't care less.
Well, I don't. It's a say in history. We got 10 minutes. What do you want to talk about?
I don't want to talk about someone who abuses dogs.
Well, I don't either, but.
No, you can. Let's move on to local news.
Well, let's talk about a couple other things then before we do that. We'll do local news at 7:00, but right now we've got to do a quick break here, and then when we come back, there's a couple things I want to talk about.
Good.
So we'll do that when we come back. So hang on. 7 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Monday, November 25th, 2019, 26 degrees outside. Thanksgiving Day week. Well, Shane, 2 years ago, we had a brand new furnace put in our place 2 years ago this month, in fact, and I woke up this morning to no heat. We had no heat this morning. So
call Kelly Hall.
Yeah. But, when get to the 8 o'clock hour, I got to call somebody and have them check it out. So see what's going on because, it went out in 2 years ago. Our old one, the original one, went out. And we had space heaters in every room and all that stuff and the water on for the pipes and all the stuff that you do. And it was kind of not
brutal,
fun.
Yeah. Especially, in your climate,
Well, that's true, yeah. Well, in February, it got down to 25 below, so we were ready for that.
Yeah,
so
that's cold.
At least we had it by then. Yeah. Let's take a phone call. 522 Talk is the number. Caller, you're on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Good morning, gentlemen. It's Steve.
Hey, Steve.
I was listening to your dilemmas with the furnace.
Yeah.
I had a quick question for you, Tom.
Sure.
Is that a forced air furnace?
It is, yeah.
When's the last time you changed your air filter?
Oh, gee. Well, it's a 2 year. We got it 2 years ago, so never.
Okay. So
that's probably part of the issue.
In my line of work, I deal with heating quite a bit, and quite recently, a place that I built 2 years ago, they called up and said, I don't have heat.
Yeah.
So I went over there and pulled out the air filter, and it was completely solid with dirt. So the first thing that pops into mind when you say you got it installed 2 years ago is the air filter. So
yeah. With that, because we've got an electronic thermostat, and it's blank. I mean, there's nothing on it. It's got an up and down, and it lights up. It lights up.
Okay.
So, it wouldn't go up or down or, and I checked the breaker, maybe it blew a breaker, or something. And,
so 95% of modern thermostats have a little AA battery in the back of them.
Oh,
Yep. And that's pretty easy. It pulls straight off the wall and you look at the backside and you'll have some batteries to change.
wow. Okay. Well, that may be.
I'm just trying to save you some money, Tom. I don't want you to have to pay that price.
I appreciate the heck out of that.
Yeah. So,
I was wondering about that. How it was. Well, our other one was a mercury thermostat. The old normal kind that you don't have power to it, or very little power to it, I guess. But
so save yourself just a little bit of money before you make that call. Go home, pull that thermostat off the wall. You don't even need any tools. It pulls straight off. And just try changing your batteries. It might save you. Okay. $100 service call.
Well, that's for sure. All right. Well, hey, thanks for the tip. I appreciate you.
Yeah, you have a great morning, Tom.
All right. Thanks a lot. We'll let you know how that goes. All right. All right. From our text line, let's see. Interstates, all roads are socialist. Well, I don't know that I would agree with that. I think business pays for all roads, as far as I know.
Well, it's a federalist project. So,
which is funded entirely by business.
And the states, yeah.
And the state's funded by business, too.
Yeah. And Americans, taxpayers. So,
yeah. So.
And business taxes. So,
yeah.
Everybody.
We have the Streamline bus here in Bozeman. HRDC, isn't that a nonprofit? It is a nonprofit. Streamline is free, including rides to Belgrade. So, and I think they go up to the ski hill too, if I'm not mistaken. But
wow,
maybe not. But not being a skier, I don't know. So maybe they are. I don't know. The other thing I wanted to talk about real quick, because we got about 2 minutes left here, is global warming. If you are concerned about global warming, then you will want to give up turkey this Thanksgiving. No meat of any kind, no prime rib, no turkey, no nothing, because you will be contributing to global warming. So don't even think about putting meat on your table. So
you had 12 years left, so 1 year's gone, so it's only 11 years.
11 years left before life as we know it is over.
Gone. And 20 years ago, in 2000, your famous vice president said that in 20 years, the cities of the United States coast would be under 20 feet of water and flooded. Miami would be flooded. Well, sorry, it hasn't happened yet. They don't even have high tides anymore.
I know. I don't know what's going on down there, but.
Yeah. This is good. I love this stuff.
I was going to say, I felt much better when the former president bought a
Martha's Vineyard, nice, $15 million.
Yeah, nice house on the on Martha's Vineyard or somewhere.
On the shoreline.
Yeah, right on the shoreline.
100 feet from the ocean, yeah.
Yeah, so obviously, unless he's going to put up a giant wall, I got no problem with global warming.
I believe he bought it on the west side so they can enjoy sunsets.
That's why. All right.
So maybe they're worried about, hurricanes on the east side.
That must be it, yeah. So, all right. So that would be the issue. So, all right, good for them, I guess.
Well, it was either that or Bermuda, and he didn't think he'd look well living in Bermuda.
Well, yeah, he wouldn't. He'd blend in too much in Bermuda. Martha's Vineyard, he'll stand out. So
you're oh my God! Well, the Eagle Man is soaring.
You gotta think about this stuff. I mean, you gotta look. You gotta put yourself in the other man's shoes.
Well, you can. You have big feet like he does.
Well, that could be it. All right. That's going to wrap it up for this hour. Local stuff coming up next, and we'll do that. 5 things you need to know. No guest today. At least I don't think so. I don't know. Doorbell's ringing. Who knows who might show up? We'll find out. All right, we got a duck out here, and we got Fox News coming up, Montana State News, Brooke Foster weather, and a lot more to come, so stay tuned. We'll be back right after the news. 6 minutes after the hour, it's Monday, November 25th, 2019, 26 degrees outside. We're looking for a high in the mid-40s today. Shane and Tom and Half Man, Half Amazing on the line. Tommy Goloff, your morning mayor, in the house. And this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. From our text line, Shane, 478-8298. Police and fire, Social Security, more socialism. Well, I'm sorry. All of those are paid for by business. Thank you very much. So there's no socialism there.
We've listed for months, police and fire, property tax.
Well, property taxes are paid by business too. So then,
yeah, no, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, property taxes pay for your schools.
Yeah. But your commissioners say they also get money from that property taxes for the fire department and the police. Remember, he gave you that list of things you'd have to give up if you didn't have property tax?
Well, yeah, there's
maybe
a,
I misunderstood him.
yeah, I've got it over there in my stack, but
anyway.
Well, yeah. Well, you're talking about the because there's other taxes besides the property taxes that flow into the county. I mean, it's not their only source. Yeah.
Most of your local services, people locally pay for them.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, I've made this argument before that business pays all bills. There's not a bill you can name that business doesn't pay for. So,
yeah, exactly.
I don't know that I want to go into the long, lengthy explanation of how that works, but I personally have never paid taxes in my life. My employers always paid all my taxes for me.
As they should.
And they've paid my Medicare. They paid my
Social Security.
They paid all that stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and I got to take home a little pittance of money.
Yeah.
After the business paid everything for me. So.
Yeah. Social Security, greatest pyramid scheme of all time.
That's how it works. Yeah. I wrote a blog on this several years ago, and maybe I should repost that I'll maybe if any of these folks want to read it, I can just send them the link on the text line. So. Yeah,
if we're around 1,000 years from now, the only pyramid of the United States they'll talk about is Social Security.
That could be. Yeah. Well, that is definitely a Ponzi scheme, but I mean, it always has been.
That's right.
Because I started paying into it in '64, I think, when it started.
But it was a ruse.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Medicare started in '64, yeah. I think. Yeah.
But it was a ruse because FDR set it up because in the middle of the Depression by 1936, no one was saving money in banks, and the banks couldn't get recycled. They couldn't get going.
Yeah.
They came up with the great idea of being able to have Social Security, and of course, then Social Security's first bonds they bought were from banks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there you are. And, of course, had we privatized Social Security back when Bush wanted to, holy mackerel, what would we have in our Social Security now?
Well, look at Berkshire Hathaway. We've talked about it. Only 20% of what they take in every day or annually was, purchased dividend-paying cash stocks. Mm-hmm. Social Security would be rocking, man. You'd have hundreds of millions of dollars, just being flown into it. But Social Security needs some monthly income, monthly reoccurring income besides what people pay into it for it to grow.
That's why every business pays their taxes monthly at the end of the month. Exactly. They send their Social Security in, they send their payroll tax in, and that's how the government operates. They don't get everything on April 15th and then budget the rest of it.
So that's right.
They take it in every month.
But all the money being paid in now is going out to baby boomers and retirees. So.
Yeah. From our text line, you paid property taxes where you live. No, I don't. My business pays my property taxes. Thank you very much. I don't pay anything out of pocket for my property taxes. So,
as it should.
Yeah. So Social services are not free. They're paid for by taxes. No question they're paid for by taxes, but the taxes are paid by business, not by an individual. So, if you work for a company at the end of a year, what do you get? You get a slip of paper from your employer that says, here's what I paid for you, right?
Mm.
Yeah, you don't write a check for your yearly tax to the government, do you?
Nope, and that's a form the IRS requires them to send you so you can do your taxes.
And if the business can't afford to pay the taxes for you, the Social Security, the Medicare, the retirement, the medical, you don't have a job, do
and
you?
the only way that people take advantage of this are private companies, individual private companies, and they don't have to file their taxes till, in your country, I think until June, right? So if you don't pay into Social Security through your private company, you can, but if you don't, then you don't get much of Social Security at the end of the day. But
yeah,
a lot of people don't. A lot of people avoid paying Social Security by, being employed by a private company.
That's true. So, what can I tell you?
One of those little tax advantages that people don't talk about.
Absolutely right. Oh, let's see. Let's talk a little bit about the stuff that's going on locally here. Let's see. We've got they're talking about the tribal leaders raising concerns over potential oil leak into the Mississippi, or the Missouri River, rather, not the Mississippi River, the Missouri River. And has to do, of course, with the XL pipeline. They want to drill 25 feet below the river to install the pipe. And so they're naturally concerned because the pipeline would send up to 830,000 barrels of crude oil a day from Canada to the Gulf Coast through that pipeline. And they don't trust the proposal to do that. And so that's kind of where they are. The river feeds into the Assiniboine and Sioux rural water supply system, which supplies water for both on and off the reservation. It cleans an average of 2.5 million to 5 million gallons of water a day, depending on demand. And the plant distributes the water to about 20,000 people on the reservation, and in Glasgow, Scobie, Plentywood, and Culbertson. And that's why some people here don't trust a Canadian oil company proposal to dig a hole under the Missouri River. So, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, oil is a natural result of the planet. It's seeped to the earth all over the place around the world. So, the planet naturally absorbs it. And I'm not saying that justifies any spill.
Sure.
The EPA's requirements to clean up a spill are like volumes long. So, I mean, one way or the other, it'll be dealt with. But it's still, there's 10,000 miles of pipelines in your country for gas and oil and water and everything else. So it's a bogus argument. But what I was happy to see was that the U.S. Senate passed that bill to rename your, Bozeman Veterans Affairs to the Travis Atkins Veterans Affairs Clinic. And I think that's great that the U.S. Senate recognized him when your state wouldn't, because he was a hero.
Yeah. Okay. From our text line, businesses don't pay, they withhold your taxes. You can ask them to withhold less, but you pay income taxes. Well, no, you don't. I mean, if you think you do, it's fine. Keep that delusion, When you sit down and make a deal with your employer, you don't go in there saying, oh, boy, this job pays $15 an hour. Wow. You're not going to take home $15 an hour. You're going to take home about $11 an hour.
That's right.
And that's the deal you make, because if the employer can't pay all of your taxes, all of them, all your income tax, if they can't pay all of your Medicare and Medicaid, if they can't pay all of your Social Security, if they can't pay all of your retirement or whatever deal they have, you don't have a job.
Correct.
Now you've got to sit there and agree to work for $11 an hour. That's what you're getting.
And that's why private sector jobs are 126 million and 160 million people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Private companies with less than 500 people because they have the best benefits from the IRS code.
As I said, the business at the end of the year, they give you a slip of paper that says what?
What you got paid.
It doesn't say here's the taxes you paid. It says here's the taxes I paid to keep you employed. That's what it really says. Now, if you want to convince yourself it says otherwise, be my guest. Hey, I've got no problem with that. If you think you pay taxes, good for you.
Yeah.
Feel free. But you don't. So let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
This is Clint.
Hi, Clint.
Good morning, good sir. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too, Shane. What are you going to eat, duck or a turkey or what?
Well, we already had our turkey in October, so thank you for...
Yeah, I guess you Canadians are a little different. That's the old guys down here in Montana.
We try to get ahead of you Americans.
I know it. That's all right, too.
Our national holiday is July 1st. Yours is July 4th, so we got you beat on that day, too.
I know it. We're beating a lot of things, Here's something that I've been thinking about for a long time. As I've said before, there is nothing on this earth that isn't taxed in this United States. Nothing. Mm-hmm. Everything is taxed. And I'm thinking that our government is telling me a damn lie about the gross domestic product. And the reason I'm saying that is every little thing, right down to a bar of soap or a toothbrush or anything, is taxed. And I'm thinking about all this and the little things that's out there that you think don't have a tax on it. Everything has a tax, even the air and the water you drink.
Yeah. And
I'm thinking this, Tom, I really think that we take in a hell of a lot more money than is represented.
Mm-hmm.
You know that? I think we have a black budget that nobody really knows about. And you can take one little item and start thinking about the tax on that one item, and it'll scare the hell out of you when you figure it all out. I've done that. And
well, two things you need to know, Clint, that, there's an underground economy in your country of $2 trillion, pays no taxes.
Yeah, I understand.
And the Chinese have figured this out because they're now in year 4 with no currency. The only way you can buy anything in China today, folks, is with your cell phone or a credit card. Mm-hmm. No currency in China. None. Zip.
Well, the thing I'm saying to everybody is nobody can escape these taxes. Nobody. I mean, whether you're paying them through personal property taxes, like which me and Tom hate, I mean, everything, nobody can get away with anything, I mean, you can cheat and lie and everything else when it comes to the IRS, and you think you're getting away with it, but you're not really, because everything that you've purchased during the week or in the year, it's all been taxed not once, but a dozen or quadruple times, from the date it was manufactured or whatever. Mm-hmm. And if you start counting all that up, it'll scare the hell out of you.
Yeah.
And so I think our government, when you got a $22 trillion deficit, have we, and about a 14 or 18 trillion dollar
23 trillion now.
23. What's our gross domestic product, they say?
22,
yeah.
22, huh? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're in the hole.
Well, sort of, not really, but we are.
That's
sort
right.
of.
That's what I'm saying about this black budget.
Yeah.
There is a black budget out there, and I'm sure of it. And the reason
there's no budget, just continuing resolutions.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's true. Yeah.
I got one other question to ask you.
Yeah.
And this is about Mr. Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's say that he goes to the Senate and asks for a trial, and the Senate isn't going to convict him for
impeachment.
Yeah, for his impeachment, and so he's going to get it. Let's assume he's elected next year. Mm-hmm. Okay, he's elected presidency again.
Re-elected, yeah, for a second term.
Is that going to continue on from the impeachment? I don't think so either.
They'll lose, the Democrats will become a regional party. They'll lose the House. They'll lose more Senate seats. And as I said, they'll deny the elections and start claiming that sanctuary cities are really city states. And, then they'll try to start changing laws so they're independent of the federal government.
Okay. I got you. I was just telling my wife, I think he'll start all over maybe, but maybe they'll try to keep carrying it on. And I think the Democrats have shot themselves in the foot already. But that's my personal belief, but maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so. But these taxes, this year my tax bill went up a hell of a lot, and a lot of other people's did out there. And a lot of these people that are on fixed incomes right here in Bozeman, Montana, are hurting because of this tax increase in the schools and stuff that we've built, and bond issues and mill levies and stuff. It's really hurt a lot of the people. I've talked to a lot of people down here at the restaurant, and poor people too that don't have a lot, And
so I just want to mention to you, Clint, one thing about impeachment. The politically smart, savvy Democrats would censure Trump. They get the same benefit. They satisfy their base. They go into the election accusing him of that, and they don't lose possibly the Senate or the House.
Yeah, I know it. And here's one other thing that kind of bothers me, and it should bother everybody. Anytime you take a man that's worth $60 billion, like Michael Bloomberg is, he can outspend all of the other candidates put together. Wants to take $1 for his wages. Okay, that to me is a very unfair advantage. And like I've said before, money should have never been made free speech by the U.S. Supreme Court. I think it was the biggest mistake, and it could be the ruination of this country. And you take people like Bloomberg, whether he's good or bad, I don't care that way, but the money end of it.
Yeah, he's not going to take any donations of any kind, he says. He's going to finance it himself. So.
Well, he can, see.
Well, yeah, he can. So.
Well, the thing is...
Hey, let us not forget that the Clinton and the Democrats raised $650 billion to beat Bernie in the, to get the nomination.
Yeah.
And then she spent $750 billion to try and defeat Trump. So Democrats are the ones that have benefited the most.
Well, I don't believe in the United States of America that you could buy an election. I mean, you still got to either like the guy or girl or vote for whoever you like, but still.
I've been the same belief as you, Tom, for many, many years. But then I've got to looking at some of this stuff. And these people today aren't like when we were raised, Tom.
No, they're not.
And so it says to me that there's a little difference here. Maybe money can. And so the reason I called this morning is I want to hear from other people what they think about these elections and what they think about what's going to happen to Mr. Trump, and how they suffered it with their taxes. That's what I called about.
All right.
There you go.
Gotta go.
Hey, Happy Thanksgiving.
You too, Tom.
All right, thanks. All right, we'll be right back right after these important words. Hang on. 26 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m. It's Monday, November 25th, 2 days before Thanksgiving. Thankful for all you folks out there listening to us. Shane and Tom on the line, who is also thankful. And there you are, Shane.
Very, very much so.
Yeah. So from our chat, app chat, I'll get it in a minute. It is Monday, isn't it, right? I can't talk on Monday. From our app chat line, AM 1450 KMMS, and if you don't have the app chat line, by all means, get it. So if my earnings aren't being charged income tax, then why do I fill out tax returns? Well, you fill out tax returns because there may be deductions and other things that you're entitled to. And if you get a refund, guess what? Your business took out too much. And if you have to pay, then you use the funds provided by business to pay your taxes. It's that simple.
That's simple. And if you don't file and you're owed a refund, you won't get it. They're not going to give you a refund unless you file.
That's true. Yes, Clint, there are three things in life that are unavoidable: death, taxes, and the stupidity and lies of the Democrats. So there you are, Clint. So that's for you. Let's see. Semantics. Employers withhold, not pay taxes. Your employer has no idea what your final tax bill will be. For example, deductions. Well, that's true, except the employer pays the taxes for you every month. They submit it every month to the government, and then your tax return determines whether you get something or not. An income tax is imposed on individuals. The tax imposed on companies is usually known as corporate tax and is levied at a flat rate. However, individuals are taxed at various rates according to the band in which they fall. And that would be true. We have a progressive tax that that your employer pays.
Yeah.
Clinton didn't beat Bernie Sanders. They cheated. The head of DMC used the electorate committee to out Sanders. There you go.
I know, but the crazy thing about it is they knew from the beginning they were going to do this to Bernie, and they still spent $650 million.
That's true.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. All right, we got a caller waiting on the line, Shane. If you want to talk to them, we'll be back with more right after the Montana State News at the bottom of the hour, Fox News, weekday weather, and some other stuff, so hang on. 25 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Monday, November 25th, 2019. We have a caller patiently waiting on the line, so let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning. I happen to be speaking to Shane, and I really believe the gentleman who is just on the phone has some very valid points about the coming up presidential election.
Mm-hmm.
I believe President Trump will take office. However, we have given the anti-fascist groups 4 years to regroup. Get ready.
Okay.
Get ready, because what they did at the end of the last election is going to be worse. Second thing, the Valley taxation on the people. I have an uncle that is my wife's uncle who just moved back into our house because he could no longer afford the cost of living in the Gallatin Valley. And people better wake up because you're going to end up just like California.
Well, it is a shame. We're hearing more and more of that, quite honestly. And
yeah,
from my standpoint, government's not living within its means. It just is asking more money, more money, more money. It's, I don't see a concerted effort to reduce spending or, live within their means.
Well, the other thing is more and more people are coming into our great state of Montana.
That's true.
I was a transplanter myself. But I came here with the attitude I'm not going to want to change this place. I came here to enjoy and live life. And people are coming up here now, are coming from states such as California because of the taxation problems.
Sure.
All right. Well, now we got to raise the taxes to help these people out. Well, I thought the more people that came to a place, the less taxes you would have to pay because the pot got bigger, not smaller.
Right. Yeah.
Well, you guys have a wonderful day. I'm almost at work.
All right.
And you guys have a great day.
All right.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving to you. All right. Thanks a lot. All right. Great call. Yeah.
Slayers. The Bobcats were the Griz Slayer this weekend. Whoa.
That was quite a game. Well, you had the Grey Cup last night, didn't you?
Yeah. The Bombers from Manitoba won. Yeah.
I watched some of that. I love Canadian football. It's much better than American football.
Very fast. 3 downs, baby. You got to go.
3 downs. There's no fair catches. There's no team timeouts. And you got a 25-yard end zone. I mean, holy mackerel, man.
And a football the size of a rugby ball. I mean, if they made that football into an NFL ball, my gosh, it would even be more exciting.
But I do notice they do not. You're not at the 50-meter line.
No.
They use yards.
Yeah, there's a short livelihood, I think, to the CFL now because there's no high school football in Canada anymore.
Wow. So you're just taking the rejects from the NFL to play.
Well, I wasn't going to say that, but
or the college players that are almost
they
there,
don't
but
get
not
in the
quite.
NFL.
Yeah, they don't get in the NFL.
The average salary in the CFL is about 100,000 Canadian.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
wow. Let's take a phone call. 522 Talk is the number. Caller, you on the air. What's going on?
Oh, I just wanted to add to what that last guy was saying. I called in last week about the town pump employee or former employee who went up and stole $11,000 and need to pay for his daycare and everything.
Yeah.
So what I forgot to mention on that is at the end of that little segment on the news, they had one of the Bozeman police officers.
Mm-hmm.
And he's standing there saying that I've seen people who are homeless come up through the system and get their lives back on track. It's no sense to steal. And I don't know if it's the irony in that pisses me off, that
Mm-hmm.
it's a government employee with a gun who can shoot you if you get disorderly and disagree with him in the wrong fashion. He's not only just a government official with a gun, he's the judge, he's the jury, he's the potential executioner. How come a citizen is supposed to have to run to the government, stay at a homeless shelter, take handouts that other citizens are paying for to get back on his so-called feet, when the government, who is the boss of the said guy with the gun who's telling you he did the wrong thing, gets to just go steal from every fucking other person and get their damn money? Gotta go to work.
Okay. All right. Thanks, man. We got a lot of people going to work, Shane.
It's a magnificent Monday. More phone calls of the week than any other day. It's
We do get a lot of phone calls, yeah.
Yep.
Capital gains taxes not paid by employers. Well, no, they're not. They're paid by the capital gains. I'm a perfect example. Right now, I sat down with Town Square and we decided what I would get paid. The two of us, they didn't say, hey, work or forget it. We went in, we negotiated what I thought was a fair thing, which is comparable to what previous hosts have made.
Well, that in effect, what their budget allows.
That's true. Yeah.
Issue, right?
Yeah.
So they can only pay you what they can.
Yeah. So I can either, for me to get up at 3 a.m, I'm not doing it for nothing. I'm not doing it for free. And we sit down and negotiated it. So I submit an invoice to them every year or every month.
Through your company.
Every month. My company submits an invoice to them because I'm not an employee of KMMS or Town Square Media. I'm an independent contractor. So I give them an invoice for blogging and for being on the air and, running the show. And out of that, quarterly, I will write a check to the IRS.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who paid for that check? Town Square Media. I didn't.
Yeah.
I knew when I sat down and negotiated with them that my company was going to have to put those taxes forward. And, I knew what I would be left with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a great, if you want to read about this, folks, a great example of that is Uber. New York State just hit them with a $550 million tax bill.
Yeah.
Because the state's saying, well, the drivers are not independent contractors.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to pay this bill. I mean, sorry, because they're not paying us anything.
Yeah. That's exactly right. So there you are. So it's, I'm not trying to convince anybody that you don't pay taxes. I mean, if you think you do, then fine. I don't have a problem with that. Go for it. I just realized that when I sit back and look at who pays for what, it's pretty obvious that it ain't me.
That's right. Yeah.
It's because, if Town Square and I couldn't come to an agreement on what I would do this job for, then I wouldn't be here. It'd be that simple.
That's right. I mean, Uber's got 23,000 worldwide employees, 11,500 in the U.S. Their revenue is like 11.27 billion, and they're not paying any taxes for all these employees that are independent contractors.
Yeah, they pay their own way.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, but you know that going in when you take the job.
Exactly. That's what's drawn so many people to Uber, because of that opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if I don't pay those quarterly taxes, I'm going to jail. Well, probably won't go to jail, but they'll fine me. Whatever.
That's right. And Uber was, basically created and set up the concept was predicated on taxi cabs and having their medallions, like in New York City, to be independent drivers.
Right. Exactly.
And, so the government allows that, but they're not going to. So this will go to court and be decided there. We'll see how it ends up.
Correct. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be out just 90 seconds. We'll be right back right after this. 14 minutes before the top of the hour. In other local news, the city and county, they're often late getting their budgets to the state, Shane. They have to. The Local Government Budget Act requires governments to submit their budget to the state by October 1st of each year, or 60 days after the state sets the area's taxable value. The city of Bozeman has turned in its budget late every year from 2009 to 2018, and we need to put that down for Krause tomorrow.
Yeah,
How come
exactly.
you guys are so late getting your budget in? And then, according to the city, sometimes missed the deadline by a few weeks. Other times it was late by more than 3 years. Wow.
Wow, is right.
Gallatin County's missed the deadline 7 times since 2009, including this year. We always get ours in there, but there's no real penalty for not getting it in on time, said Justine Swanson, Gallatin County Finance Director. That's not why we put it in late. We just have to do so many things we need to do. We'll get it in there.
Sure,
and they're not
don't they have people they pay to do that? I mean, seriously.
Well, you would think so. I mean, Missoula County, as of November 22nd, we're just missing the latest budget. Others have been years of holes. The department doesn't have a budget from the city of Townsend from 2013 to 2018. Phillipsburg hasn't turned in a copy of its budget since 2014. So apparently you don't have to turn this thing in at all.
Yeah, and you don't you have regulators in your capital?
Well, you would think there would be somebody
What's
there.
going on? Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Obviously, a budget's just kind of a roadmap, I guess. It's not, etched in stone particularly. Budgets can be adjusted as the year goes on, but
that's true.
But
it's an expected balance sheet.
Well, you would think so. Yeah, I mean, it's like the annual report of a business.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean that can change depending on, economic indicators and
elections
and influences. Yeah, elections, whatever. But that's why I've never put a whole lot of faith in the Congressional Budget Office talking about what will happen 10 years. What this particular bill will do in 10 years, because I don't think back in 2009 they knew that Lehman Brothers was going to go south and Bear Stearns and we're going to have to bail out GM and everybody. And then they said, oh, well, don't forget, we've got a recession coming. You're going to have to bail out GM. And, Chrysler's going to be sold. And, Lehman Brothers is going to fail, and Bear Stearns and everybody. And this is going to be horrible. And then we're going to have this inflation, So otherwise, everything will be peachy keen.
That's right.
But don't worry about it, because in 2019, you're going to have a $28,000 or 28,000 point, stock market. So don't worry.
That's right.
It's fine.
And that's why the fascist government of China 15 years ago stopped, creating 10-year plans.
Yeah.
But I love
Too
the
short.
OMB, the Office of Budget and Management in the U.S., how they have these 5, 10, 20-year plans. They pump out about what things will cost. There's so many variables. There's no.
I know. You can't. You can predict if everything stays the same. Yeah,
Yeah.
But what 10-year period does everything stay the same?
Yeah, exactly.
Do we know about the Kurds and the Turkey in there? Do we know about what was going to happen with ISIS and Al Qaeda and all of that stuff in the Middle East? Do we know Saudi Arabia is going to go out and kill somebody? Come on.
I mean, $1 trillion a year health care, for all. There's no way of determining anything from that.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be such a mess. I mean, first of all, your market would collapse, your stock market.
Well, yeah.
There's, the results of the unintended consequences.
Well, that's what you can't figure in. You can't figure in the unintended consequence of what's going to happen. So.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we got to take another quick break. We'll be back in 90 seconds, so stay tuned. 7 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Monday, November 25th, 2019, 24 degrees outside. And other local news, Shane, MT Cares, a nonprofit behind Initiative 87, is trying to get the state to have 80% renewable energy by 2034.
I read that, yeah.
Yeah, they're out collecting signatures, so I know we'll all want to sign up for that. It's such a good deal. It will require Northwestern Energy and Montana Dakota Utilities, the state's privately owned utility companies, to increase their production of renewable energy gradually until it reaches 80% by December 31st, 2034. So, hallelujah.
Talk about a 20-year plan.
Hallelujah. I feel better already.
Exactly.
We're going to live 13 years instead of 11. Yeah,
exactly.
If this thing passes. So I'm so excited. Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Call you on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Well, gobble, gobble, guys.
All right. Happy Thanksgiving,
Happy
Pete.
Thanksgiving, Pete.
A couple of things. We got some serious coincidences going on in this country.
We do?
Yeah.
What are they, Pete? Enlighten us.
One of them is the one thing in
Very
common
good, Eagle Man.
that Biden, Kerry, and Pelosi and Mutt Romney all have in common is they all have kids working in the gas extraction business in Ukraine.
Well, not only that, but they have kids that are all billionaires.
Makes me wonder about the Obama and the Iran deal.
Yeah.
That was cash.
Yeah, it's true.
And the other thing is, finally, the FDA has released a study that says cells used in vaccines are contaminated with serious viruses, including cancer. Now, the article, it's a pretty good article, but it's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, that was in the New England Health Monthly. Yeah, it was a great article. Good job, Pete.
Yeah, and it, they told the farmer was fudging the data, and it's also that included the flu shots.
Mm-hmm.
And we had the Supreme Court that ruled vaccines are unavoidably dangerous. That was their ruling. And people run. I'll tell you what. If you start at 50 and you go get your flu shot every year at 50 years old, by the time you're ready to retire, your IQ will be lower than your shoe size.
Well, but come on, Pete. I mean, vaccines have saved hundreds of millions of lives. I mean, seriously, they really have.
I don't know that. I don't know that. I know that.
Oh yes, you do. Give me a grade.
Well, smallpox. You could
smallpox.
point to smallpox for one.
Polio.
Yeah, polio be another one.
Do the research on polio and smallpox, and you'll find out that there's a different story there.
Mm-hmm.
And believe me, I have. Until you've had a vaccine in your child, you need to do the research before you argue with somebody who has.
That's true.
And I have. So I'll send you anything you want. I can send you 10 folders full of information that's on my computer. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, but at least they did something. At least they're saying something.
Well, St. Paul's Level 1 Research Lab ordered some material from the CDC and they sent him the Ebola virus.
Okay.
Instead.
They got problems. I know there was and I actually talked about this on this show. Well, I don't know if it was this show. It was quite a while ago. But they had a guy die from asbestos. Okay, so they went in there and they dissected a cell from the tumor, and what they found in the cell was SV40, which is the monkey virus that they found in the polio vaccines. And you can, if you want to find out about it, just go get yourself a copy of Dr. Mary's Monkey, and it goes through the whole thing.
Dr. Mary's Monkey, that's good.
Dr. Mary's Monkey, yep, that's the name of the book. And he goes through the whole thing of what happened. And
I'm gonna wait for the movie.
Yeah, you should start our book club, Pete. Come on there every day and give us a book we should read.
There you go.
Well, read the Hot Zone.
Okay.
That's a book.
All right.
Read the Hot Zone. That'll shake you up a little bit too.
I'm sure.
Well,
At least
okay.
they're doing something, so I give them credit for that. The CDC ain't doing nothing because they sell vaccines,
Yeah.
and when they can't sell them, they give them away. And when giving them away ain't enough, they'll take 10% off your grocery bill after you get the shot.
Wow. Now we're talking.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
I like that idea. Yeah.
Yeah, so do they.
I'll bet. Yeah.
It's called population control.
Can I get 3 shots and 30% off?
Yeah, you can. Well,
A
you
basket
sure,
deal.
sure, absolutely. But like I said, your IQ will end up lower than your shoe size.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today.
All right. Well, hey, we appreciate it. Thanks for the daily
Happy
update.
Thanksgiving, Pete.
Yep, you too.
All right.
Have a good one, guys.
All right. Thanks, Pete. All right. We got to take a quick break here at the top of the hour. We've got, we got the 5 things you need to know. We got a couple other local things coming up, and we've got people that, we're talking about vaccines apparently from our text line. So we'll do that as well. So stay tuned. Hey, we still got a full hour to go, Shane. Wow. Time's flying here. So, all right, we'll be back. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Hey, don't forget, you can get your weather anytime you want at KMMSAM.com. Don't forget about our app, AM 1450 KMMS app. You need to get that. You get the weather anytime you want it, get news, and everything you need to know about what's going on in our community and around the world. So we'll be back with more right after this. Thank you, Dan. It's Monday, November 25th, 2019, 24 degrees outside, 6 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock. Shane Taubman, half man, half amazing, is on the line with me, Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor, and this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. From our text line, Shane, 478-8298, conspiracy kooks go away. Vaccines have saved lives. Research does not include wacko conspiracy sites. Seatbelts kill people and save even more. Stop with the conspiracy kooks. Remember the same kooks who claim vaccines are for population control, claim Obama spied on Trump, and Joe Biden fired a prosecutor to protect his son. These people are dangerously ignorant. The MSU Bobcats sure gave that liberal college from Missoula a beat down on Saturday, kind of like the beat down Trump is going to give liberal Democrats about a year from now. So
There you go.
got that one going for it. Yeah, the Bobcats spanked the Griz like a bad puppy.
Indeed,
They were tough on them. Yeah, it wasn't even close. There was a controversial pass interference call, I think, that went against Missoula that should have been done, but that wouldn't have helped anything. Even if they'd have scored, it wouldn't have helped them. So
well, they held up to their name, Griz Slayer, on Saturday.
yeah, and that's 4 years in a row we beat the Griz.
I know, and you guys are in the playoffs now.
Yeah, we get a bye. We get a bye even along with Montana.
Huge.
So yeah. Well, viruses, including cancer. Cancer isn't a virus. I'm not arguing with his information, just the delivery. So, okay.
Well, that's not true. Some cases of cancer have been determined to be viruses.
Is that right? Yeah, I
stomach cancer and
Yeah.
some forms of vaginal cancer have been determined to be viruses. That's
Oh.
why they've cured them.
Yeah. Okay. I have no clue. I'm a clueless cancer guy. So, other than the wife as a survivor.
That's right.
So, yeah. All right. Let's see. Getting back to, we got a few local things here that we haven't taken care of yet. We started talking about the Initiative 87 that would require Northwestern Energy and some of these other utilities to gradually increase their renewable energy to 80% by 2034. And, as I pointed out, I don't know that a state our size, if that would make any considerable difference when you're going up against China and India and a bunch of other states. So, I don't know, where that's going to go. There's nothing wrong with it except that you can't force renewable energies. You can't force the evolution of it. As we've said many times on the show, Shane, that I couldn't have sped up the evolution of the automobile by shooting all the horses. You just can't do that. I mean, these things. We had the telegraph, and then we had the CB radios, and then that led to cell phones, and we had record players, and that led to cassette tapes and 8-tracks, and then that led to CDs, and now we're streaming music. So,
That's right.
There's an evolutionary process that goes along, and almost all of it's tied to money. Can I produce something? I sold the first video cassette players that came out for $700-800. And at the end of their life, you could buy them in Walmart for about $30. As they went along. And the same thing with big screen TVs.
Mm-hmm. Undetermined consequences. Yeah, like, oil and gas saved the whales. It wasn't for oil and gas. Whales.
There's the things are endless. We went from from the Wright brothers to to the moon in less than 100 years. Yeah. So,
Imagine.
That happens. And, we didn't sit around saying, well, boy, if we had jet planes, if we just had jet planes in World War II, wow. Wouldn't that be cool? If we had smart bombs in World War II, wouldn't that be cool? But we didn't. We you don't go to war with the army you like, you go to war with the army you have. And that's how it works. But look at the advancements that have been made through the past 100 years. Remarkable, amazing.
Astonishing. Absolutely astonishing.
Yeah. So renewable energies will come. They'll come in their own good time. When you have a solar panel the size of a dime that produces the same energy that the current ones are the size of a Buick, then you got something.
That's right.
But that's going to take time. Elon Musk and everybody's working on these batteries for electric cars. And that battery technology is going to come someday.
Mm-hmm.
But just because we want it now doesn't mean it's going to happen now.
Exactly.
We'd love to have it now. It'd be terrific if all cars were electric cars, but they're not. And they won't be for a number of years.
Yeah, it's a matter of the free market, endeavoring to create the opportunity and a benefit from a new concept and a new idea.
And you got 6 billion people out there working on it. How can we make this happen?
Exactly,
So sooner or later, You know, they say the entire knowledge of the known world doubles every like 10 months or something like that. So, you know,
and you have access to it all with the internet.
yeah, and you know, as I say, these things are going to come, but they're going to come in their own good time. You know, Alexander Graham Bell and Watson didn't say, "Well, we got the telephone now. Let's work on texting the next day." You know, that wasn't how it worked.
You know, it's like it's like population demographics and where we're going in 100 years. It's like scalability. You know, how can you scale something to be able to have a massive impact, right? Because the infrastructure cost to create something new and scale it to the size of the global market is pretty significant. I mean, it's a lot of money.
Yeah. From our text line, 478-8298, the Republican Party in 2019 is not about conservatism or principles. It's now about beating down the Dems. Not good. I miss when the GOP was conservative and honest. Well, beating down the Dems, I would say, is probably more important than being conservative or honest. Either one, because you only have to look at the debates which nobody is. And
amazing?
I feel bad about that. I believe everybody should be looking at these debates.
Oh,
just to confirm in your mind how ridiculous these people are and where they're going. Wow.
And the important thing too is to look at the debates and what they're not talking about. It's not just what they're talking about, but also what they're not talking about.
Yeah. Prices of VCR and DVDs are cheap because we enjoy cheap Chinese labor. Well, a lot of the VCRs and DVDs came from Japan, not China, but there are some. There are some, and South Korea. Yeah.
You know, Samsung produces all the screens for everything. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and also, I believe at one time we did have cheap Chinese labor, but I don't believe we do anymore because everything is computerized.
Yes, exactly.
We don't have manual labor of somebody running some machine with a, start it or stop it. We got a guy sitting there with a computer running the specs and the technology and the measurements and all of that stuff to make today's spatula. They're not whittling them in huts anymore.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
By the way, the first tariff Trump imposed was on solar panels, raising the price and helping big oil. Thanks, Donnie.
Well, I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, it worked out better than Solyndra for Obama, didn't it?
500 million, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, let's give the business away to them, and we'll all be just.
Like we covered, and this is important because again, we're ahead of the curve in the news media. When you talk about scalability, it's like algae, and we talked about the technology and the development of algae, and there's actually a market. They produce a better byproduct oil byproduct that can be used for cars and trains and planes. It's the cost of it right now is difficult because they can't scale it to be able to provide it and replace oil. But these things are happening. And there you go.
Sure. Well, that's why I say there's a process. If you think about our cell phones, they were brick sized at one point. You had to pull the antenna out of it and flip the thing down to talk, and there was nothing like slipping it. Yeah, there was nothing like slipping it in your pocket.
No.
So yeah, your car phone had a cord and an antenna stuck on the roof. If you remember,
it was terrible.
Yeah, I mean, but we thought we were swimming in the clean water then.
That's correct.
We'd arrived.
And then what was it? 1987. I bought a Mark 8 Lincoln, and it had a phone inside the car, which was lots better to use than carrying around the brick. So that was a huge change when they put phones in cars.
Yeah, I used to unhook the cord and lock it in the trunk or something, so somebody wouldn't break your windows and steal it.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Hey, Bozeman won the Can the Griz food drive, and XL Country here next door was crammed full. You couldn't even walk in there. They had so much food in there that they picked up on the street out here. People drove by and dropped off cans and potatoes and everything else, and they had their whole studio was just packed with food everywhere.
I hope you grabbed your share of tomato soup.
I did, yeah. I when they weren't looking, I went in there. I got a couple turkeys, and some stuff.
Yeah, right. So, what is your favorite Campbell's soup? Seriously?
Oh, probably tomato, grilled cheese and tomato. Yeah, you gotta have that. Yeah,
a comfort food since childhood, right?
Oh yeah. If you're sick, chicken noodle. But
chicken noodle, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
again,
so that'd be the favorite.
Kid, yeah.
Yeah, if you're cooking with meats or things like that, maybe mushroom soup or something like that. You know, you can throw some mushroom soup in there.
There you go.
Yeah,
tabletop manners.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, so yeah. But, that was, it was quite a coup. I think we've won that before, too. But food and monetary donations made in support of the Bobcats, 437,265 pounds, while donations made for the University of Montana Grizzlies, 421,000 pounds. So the donation of Bozeman, of course, go to the Gallatin Valley Food Bank and MSU's bounty of the Bridgers Food Pantry for folks that, for whatever reason,
I find it interesting. The one thing in that announcement that they didn't mention was how much they've stocked, the food bank and for how long. Is that like for 3 months, 6 months? It sounds
That's
like
true. Yeah. With the holiday coming up, it's hard to say because there's
huge numbers.
Yeah, depending on what they, how they disperse it and who needs what. But they'll start distributing the food Sunday and Monday, yesterday and today, of course, in advance of Thanksgiving. And the Can the Griz Drive generally collects enough food to last all the way to early summer.
There you go. See?
So, yeah. So the more than 400,000 pounds donated to the drive will account for 25 to 30% of the food bank's annual donations. So, about a quarter to 30% of what they get annually. So, pretty
important
good deal there.
Yeah. Well done, Gallatin Valley. Props.
That's for
everyone.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a pretty good deal for them. So,
that's called paying it forward. So well done.
That's for sure. Yeah. Well, people really get behind it this time of year, particularly tying it to the Cat Griz game. Makes it a competition. I think anytime there's a competition rather than just asking for a donation, that works out really well for our community, and that certainly is excellent. That as I said, XL Country certainly.
Winning the Saturday game helped people contribute too, because they walked away going, "I feel great. Okay, let's go contribute."
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, that was quite a game because you never know. I mean, they were 9-2 and 6-1 in the conference coming in, so they were not they weren't going to roll over and play dead. But boy, the Cats went out early and got a nice early lead, and boy, anytime you got them playing catch up, that's where you got an advantage, and they just kept scoring, kept stopping them, and it was a fun game to watch. And
play catch up, you get squirted with mustard, right?
That's for sure. Yep.
And that's the Bobcats color, gold.
That's right.
Gold that mustard.
That's it for sure. Yeah, and they wore their cool uniforms too.
Yeah,
really. Yeah, they had the cooler uniforms than the Griz did, so that made it even better. So, all right, we got to take a quick time out here. We're only going to be out for 30 seconds, so stay tuned. We'll be right back right after this. 22 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock. It's Monday, November 25th, 2019, 24 degrees outside. And, boy, we're approaching that 28,000 again, Shane, on the market this morning. Getting pretty,
I know, isn't that amazing?
Getting pretty close to it, or at least they were a while ago. They were up about 120-some points at one point. And part of that, I think, is due to the that China has said they're going to increase the penalties on intellectual property theft. And whether they will or not, who knows? But, you know.
They're just trying so hard to figure out what to do about Trump. They don't know how to negotiate with him.
Well, that's true, because they've always, they've always kind of felt they had an upper hand here for so many years. And, they think public opinion against Trump on the tariffs and everything else is going to win for them. But nobody seems to have a problem with the tariffs. I haven't heard anybody say, well, gee, wow, things are really bad for me. Other than some of the farmers, certainly. We've got a lot of farm bankruptcies that are up. I mean, those folks are hurting for sure. But there is some public aid coming to them. But, still, it's tough to, what do you do? Do you just let people roll over you forever? Or do you make a stand? And, it hurts some some people, but, if you remember in World War II, people were giving up coffee, cigarettes, gasoline, tires, nylon for the
and no cars for 4 years.
Yeah, for the war effort and everything like that. And they gave a baseball, didn't play, and there was a lot of sacrifice there. Hollywood went out and sold war bonds from door to door, or showed up in cities of all sizes and trying to encourage people to support the war effort. And, Japan attacked us, of course, but Germany never did and probably never would. I don't know. I think they were happy just to take over all of Europe. And they'd be happy with that. No need to go after America, I don't think, but.
Well, yeah, the U.S. never declared war against Germany. Germany declared war against the U.S. on December 9th because of the treaty they had with Japan. So people should be aware of that. It's treaties are a dangerous thing.
Well, they certainly can be. I'm glad we're out of the Iran one, and I'm glad we're out of the TTP or TPP rather.
Exactly.
So neither of those I don't think benefited us all that much. So.
No, and it would have it would have decimated your economy even further. That's what's so bad. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, you've already got Japan as the number one, investor in the United States. So what's the
right?
Why do you need an agreement?
Yeah, exactly.
If you're ahead,
you already got their money.
Yeah. I gotta say you got somebody that's 230 something percent of GDP to debt. They can still buy your stuff. What's the problem?
Exactly. and the reality, 25% of the world economy consume 25% of what the world produces, and everyone wants American. They really do.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. Japan? No, it's China. Who do you think assembles the DVD player or the cell phone? Well,
doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Well, I don't think China gets to do the cell phone at all, because they would steal everything. They don't assemble anything there, I don't think. In China.
They do. Oh, absolutely. That's
the cell phone.
Oh yeah.
You kidding me?
In China?
Yeah. They would
the Apple phone.
If they had all the parts. Are you kidding me? I don't think so. I don't think they assemble them in China.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. And South Korea does Samsung, but Trump's shifting it. That plant that he opened in Texas is going to start assembling Apple phones down there. So that's huge.
Yeah. Well, it is. Yeah. Obama was corrupt for Solyndra and Trump for Exxon. I don't know what Trump did for Exxon, but
he made Exxon's chairman, Secretary of State. That's
yeah, that was after he left, though.
Whatever.
I don't know. Pick your corruption. How about putting America first instead of corporate donors? Oh, I believe China, don't you? China knows how to play Trump like a fiddle. Public aid to farmers equals socialism. Yeah, that'd be true. Trump has his cult fool to believe trade deficits are bad and budget deficits are good. Milton is rolling in his grave. Well, we talked about the dead on Friday. And, yeah, so if you missed that, check it out on our rebroadcast at KMMSAM.com. The lesser of two evils is still evil. And by the way, Trump is a Democrat. Passed more gun control than Obama.
Not true. Brady Bill, we went over it in 1994.
Mm-hmm.
They don't talk about it anymore because if you go to the bill, look it up, Wikipedia it, read it, and 3 columns down, you'll see the entire list of people that are not entitled to a license for a gun. Mm-hmm. All covered. We've done this. We've covered it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Long. Not to mention, not to mention like we have constantly that the number of gun licenses that your government has checked on. I mean, we covered that 325 million.
Yep.
Licenses.
There you go.
Since 94.
And I don't think gun laws have stopped any shooting. So does it really matter what we pass? How many gun laws there are? I don't think it really matters. But anyway.
Not when you have a black market.
Well, that's true. That's what I mean. Not as long as you have a black market, and not as long as you have motivated individuals who want to, hurt people. Not many laws are going to stop them.
Yeah, when people fall off of the cliff, bad choices, bad consequence.
Amen. All right, we got to pay a couple of bills and get out of here. Fox News coming up. Fox News and Montana State News, of course. Brooke Foster weather, Sky Credit, a bunch of other things. Stay tuned. 25 minutes for the top of the hour. Whoa. I'm getting feedback from you.
Let me take care of this.
Yeah. Turn it off. There you go. That's better. Yeah. We were hearing the show or the other show.
The
other stuff. Yeah.
I listen to the ads when I go, so I
yeah. From our text line 478-8298 from Dana. Hope you guys aren't going to change your morning shtick just because you're now a fully compensated team. Congratulations on the pay and keep up the good work. So there we are.
Thank you very much.
Yes. From our text line, this is why Shane beclowns himself. The Brady Bill was 1993, and I'm pretty sure Obama wasn't president of the United States. Trump takes guns first, due process later, bump stocks, and red flag laws. Yeah, we did get rid of bump stocks, but I'm sure they're still around.
That's right.
Probably still being made and probably still being sold somewhere.
I appreciate the correction. It was November 30th, 1993. I apologize.
Yeah. And Trump doesn't take the laws first and due process later. Those are red flag laws are done by the state. We still have a Second Amendment to protect gun owners. So please,
And the act went into effect February 28th, 1994, a year later.
Yeah. Let's take a phone call. We had a caller patiently waiting here. Caller, thanks for waiting. You're on the air. What's going on?
This isn't an earth-shattering event like Clint and the other guys call in, but on your baseball reporting, they did play baseball during World War II. There's only been one time that the World Series was canceled.
That's what I was referring to, not baseball itself, and I stand corrected on that. You are absolutely right.
Well, they had a women's league.
And something else. What was that? Oh, Joe DiMaggio's hitting streak was 56 games, not 156.
Yeah, I stand corrected again. You're right on that.
That's it.
Okay.
Well, thanks for keeping us honest.
Honest, yeah.
Well, that's the job.
That's right. See, we put those inaccuracies in every once in a while, so you'll call.
Well, I'm glad. That keeps me listening.
That's right. All right. That's our goal. You got to keep listening.
Have a good Thanksgiving.
All right. You too. Thanks a lot. All right. Yes. Yeah, 56 games. I don't know where I got 157.
Well, it's like
Yeah.
I
But
think they
still,
would-
that's pretty amazing. 56
yeah,
games.
because they didn't play as many games either, right? Like, I think that's the other point you were making.
Well, I'm not sure when they went to 162 games from 154. That's when Ruth played. But I don't know. I don't know.
Don't know sports. You'd have to look it up.
Yeah, we'll have to look it up and see when they change. So, let's see. From our text line, 478-8298, Congressman Al Green said he was afraid that if we don't impeach this president, he will get reelected. Yet he gave no valid reasons that would qualify as impeachable offenses. Wake up, Democrats. Your unfounded, seething hatred of Trump has made you so crazy that you believe that the only way you can win in 2020 is to lie, conceal facts, and misrepresent information. You don't even have enough integrity to stop your disgusting behavior.
Well, the thing about impeachment is that he couldn't run for election if he's impeached, as he said, right? So
yeah,
that's why Trump is happy to welcome a trial in the Senate because it gets. I want to know the whistleblower. I want to see him in front of a committee like all those people we saw for the last 2 weeks. Don't you? I mean,
well, whenever it starts in the Senate, I'm sure they'll call him.
Yeah, exactly.
I would think anyway. Let's see. From our text line, Google is your friend. Foxconn is in China. Trump lied and said he opened new Apple plant in Austin that opened in 2013 under Obama. Trump supporters have been made fools. Trump has convinced them red flag laws are good and fully funding Planned Parenthood is not happening, and he's building a wall. Good luck, Trumplicans. He's laughing at you. All right. Let's take another call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you on the air. What's going on?
Well, Daniel R. Peterson was given the bums rush last week. So
No, that's not fair. We had a person on the phone, and if you had a question for him, all we did is ask you to ask a question. And it's great that you call in, Daniel. But when we have somebody on the phone, and this is a great guy. I mean, Tom went to great lengths to get him on the phone and participate in our show. And you're welcome to call, but all we did was ask you to ask him a question. We didn't give you a bum rap, so don't say that.
Yeah, well, bums rush means that you throw them out of a bar.
Well, we didn't do that. We asked you for a question for the caller.
Yeah. All right, it just I'm just playing with you. Well, here's why economics is called a dismal science. You probably heard that label that has been put on it many years ago. That here people are lined up on this program crying about higher taxes and getting squeezed on having to pay more for goods and services. And you intellectuals are saying, well, you got to have inflation. That's the way the system.
Now, Daniel, numbers don't lie, people do. So what we talk about are the numbers. We don't question people's opinions, neither do we question yours. But we do talk about the numbers because numbers don't lie. Couldn't build cities, couldn't build buildings if numbers lied, okay? So, I appreciate what you're saying, but, we're taking information that we're given and we assume is right. And we're looking at years and years of people's writings and knowledge that they've analyzed things. They give out a Nobel Peace Prize for economics. So, it's numbers that we look at, not people. So there you go.
Well, all right, you're defending an idea, a theory. We'll build a better system then. Build a better mousetrap so we're not getting squeezed in a corner by inflation.
But Daniel, last century, 7 social economic concepts came up. And, 100 million people died from everything else except capitalism. So we keep asking you, if you've got a brainstorm of a different social economic system to create, tell us what it is.
Well, Yes, I do, and I'll give you bits and pieces of it as time goes by. I can't slap a whole immense theory on you in one day, but I've...
well, write a paper and get a PhD, and you could be up for a Nobel Prize.
There you go.
Yeah, that's not my calling. My calling is to challenge the status quo, and I'm not a dummy. I was on the dean's list in college. And I graduated from college. I went through the ranks, and I can hold my own in most any discussion that there is. And economics is built on ideas and theories. Here's one that a lot of people, they get a pet theory, and then they gather evidence to support it. It should be just the opposite, that you gather evidence.
Like global warming, a theory.
Yeah, yeah.
Out of that,
yeah, you're moving around. I'm losing you. I'm losing you, Daniel. I'm losing your signal.
Yeah. Well,
all right. I'm gonna let you go. Maybe you can call back with a better signal.
Well, look, the bottom line is science, technology, medicine, mathematics, engineering. They're all based on numbers, and as we say, simple words, numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't have the incredible cities, the highway. I mean, flight, everything. It's all based on numbers. So.
Yeah. All right. We got to take another quick break here. Peter's Painting wants to talk to you. So does Babel and Capital One. We'll be right back. 15 minutes for the top of the hour. It's a Monday, November 25th, 2019, 25 degrees outside. Our current inflation rate as of Friday, November 22nd, is 1.76%. That's our inflation rate. Normally, we'd want to keep it around 2%.
That's right.
I think, for a bunch of reasons. Yeah, for a bunch of reasons. One, you got to grow the economy. Research and development of things like that for new products and services require borrowing and whatever. So, yeah, so our inflation rate is...
And it provides a cost of living increase for retired people.
That's true. And our growth is 2.03% as of November 22nd. So... we can't quite get to that 3 yet, but when you talk about 2% of $22 trillion, that's quite a bit of money.
Well, if the USMCA had been approved, and when it does get improved, you'll go over 3%, and that's what the Democrats are scared to death of. I really believe that. So,
well, I think I would tend to agree with you on that, Shane. That it's quite a. I don't know what I guess the Democrats feel no one's watching at all.
Right.
At all.
That's right.
Mexico's approved this thing. Canada's approved it, and I guess Nancy's sitting there saying, well, let's get this impeachment out of the way, and then we can give him a loss and a win.
Yeah, no bipartisan support on. There's no bipartisan support on impeachment, but there's a massive bipartisan support for that treaty, and she doesn't want to do anything.
Well, it's
bad.
Yeah. Well, as I told you earlier, my conspiracy theory is that this impeachment is geared more toward the primaries, so that these people can go back to their base and say, "Hey, I voted for impeachment," So. That's that's why you should vote for me, because we've got this rotten president, and the primaries will be mostly over and pretty well decided. Well, I don't know if they'll be decided or not, because we think there might be an open convention unless Bloomberg or somebody like that really rises to the top. But I don't see that. I don't see that happening.
I agree with you 100%. Only problem is they're all going home for 10 days.
Yeah.
And 30% of the country's Democratic, 30% Republican. Give them plus or minus 10%. Mm-hmm. But it's the independents, and they've swung swung against impeachment.
Yeah.
Huge.
Mm-hmm.
And that's who will decide the election.
Well, I think so. I wonder if this thing will even go to a House vote or not. It may or may not. They may look at it and say, "Hey, the American people are kind of iffy about this. They're wondering, why aren't you doing infrastructure? Why aren't you doing jobs? Why aren't you doing doing something about the homeless? Why aren't you doing something about immigration? What about the DACA people? What's going on with all that? You put all this stuff on the back burner. You're not doing any of this." And all we're hearing about is the, this stupid impeachment thing, with no real crime in there.
That's right. And the Democrats should pay a real close attention to these Hong Kong elections, which maybe we can talk after the break for a minute, because mainland people in mainland China's the people that are going to see these elections and what happened, and they're going to start going, "Why can't we vote?"
Yeah, that's true. All right. We got a caller waiting on the line, Shane, and we'll be right back right after the Rush update. Here's Rush. 5 minutes before the top of the hour. It's a Monday, November 25th, 2019, 25 degrees outside, looking for a high in the mid-40s today. Looking for snow maybe around 11 o'clock or noonish here, so not much accumulation, though, just a little dusting, but it is going to be colder and snow every day in the forecast, clear up till Sunday. So by all means, you can get your weather anytime you want it at KMMSAM.com or go to our smart app at AM 1450 KMMS on your smartphone, and you can get the weather daily, hourly, weekly, whatever you want over there, plus all of the stuff we have on our website there, all the articles and everything that are going on, to keep you informed as to what's happening in Montana and Bozeman and Livingston and parts beyond. From our text line 478-8298, I have to text this as often as possible to all the Trump-hating libs living in Montana. Trump won this state by 28% points, and probably more in 2020. You are in a conservative state, if not for 5 counties, one being this one. It would be a 100% red state, and that's from John. Being a victim... Go ahead.
Well, I just want to get this in. Folks, President Xi's in serious trouble. We keep talking about their economy. It's capitalist. They don't have a bust yet, just a boom. And over the weekend, the people of Hong Kong elected 389 of 452 seats, up 124. The government lost 58 seats, down from 300. 71% of the people of Hong Kong voted.
Yeah, no, that's the amazing part right there. Yeah.
So mainland China, President Xi's got a problem. I mean, when do people start demonstrating their vote? Like I said before the break, this is huge.
Yeah. Well, it is. The people elected don't have a whole lot of power, obviously. It's not like our Senate or our House or whatever. They've got limited power within their own little jurisdiction there, but still it does demonstrate that there is a movement going that is threatening China.
That's right.
If that were to spread into China, if China starts demonstrating and they start shooting people in the streets, then he's going to be in real. He's going to have a real problem. And I think that's why he hasn't sent anybody down there to shoot people in the streets right now.
Well, he had the Chinese army on the streets this weekend.
Well, I know that, but they're still demonstrating, and I don't think anybody's been gunned down. Well, I think there was 1 or 2 people that were shot, but I think the backlash from that was so serious that they said, no more of that stuff. Use the tear gas, use the water cannons, use whatever you can, but... I think it's interesting they all come out with umbrellas.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they do. It rains.
Let's see. From our text line, 478-8298, being a victim has become trendy. Math still works, though. If you spend less than you make and buy assets with your savings, you, too, can become a successful evil rich person. Economics are personal. Control your own destiny by controlling yourself. And that's from Clint. And from Dana, Shane, I heard the Quebec Prime Minister recently again say that Quebec still wants to break away from Canada and be a separate country about a decade or so ago. I thought they voted that down. What's up with them, and why do they keep on doing that?
Well, because of our last federal election, which has not resulted in us having a government yet, there's a gentleman that lifted up the Parti Québécois against the Liberals, took a huge amount of seats, and that's why this is coming up.
Okay. We might, maybe tomorrow we'll have to go into that in more detail. We just don't have enough time right now. Say goodbye, Shane.
Goodbye, Mayor. Look forward to talking to you tomorrow. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your wife.
All right.
And everybody out there, live for the day, live to work, be happy, be safe. God bless.
All right. Thank you, Shane, for being here. Thanks to all the listeners. Thanks for all the texters and callers and app chatters and all of that. We really appreciate it. This is a holiday week. We'll be back tomorrow. Jeff Krause will be on the docket for tomorrow. So we'll see everybody then. And until then, we'll see you tomorrow morning, 6 a.m.